Okay, all right.
I've already done an A.
Mason, Ben,
Oh, it's not bad.
Tusha.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you get?
100%.
You sweat. I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Let's see, Greece. Sam.
Are you sharpening?
Okay, Dirk's gone today. Okay, Morgan. Lupin. Xander. Lupin. Xander. I think that's it. Everyone's got one. Okay. Okay. All right. Now again, I'm going to be collecting these here in a minute. Don't put them away. Just keep them on top of your desk. Okay. Let's go through each individual score here, so you can kind of see what we did. You can see why you got it wrong, what the points were. On the board, I kind of marked what each problem's worth, so you can kind of see, did I miss all the points? Did I just miss a point? There was a lot of the problems where I checked where it was like a negative sign or positive sign was a point. There was a lot of problems where it was like I was checking top and bottom of a fraction to see kind of what you had. Some people just didn't simplify fractions. You missed maybe a point out of 2, that type of thing. All right, so on this one, you had to break up the 8, so you can actually see I went 2 and 4, and then for 12 I went 3 and 4. Now I could go further and go 2 and 2, 2 and 2, but the 4s cancel out and it would be the same with 2s, so you're left with 2 over 3. Most people that did that, where they were actually breaking it up, very similar situation. Okay, now for 10 and 25, I tried to pick an easy one. 2 and 5, 5 and 5, and you can cross out the 5s, so it's just 2 over 5. Again, if you had your multiplication chart, you could break this up pretty easily. Okay, and then that's how you simplify a fraction in the lowest terms. Okay, so let's go to number 2. Those were 2 points each. I was basically checking top and bottom. Some people just missed a point because you didn't simplify it all the way. Okay. Number 3. The shortcut that I did was I took the big 3 times the bottom, getting 9, and then you add the top to get 11. So it's 11 over 3. You always put the bottom number on the bottom, right? Some people like to go like 3 full pans. I didn't write this method down. I did it for the other one because a lot of people did it. But it's 3 full pans, like 3 out of 3, 3 out of 3, 3 out of 3. So you had 3 full pans, and then your final 4th pan had 2 out of 3, right? That's what it means to be 3 full pans. And when you add these up, you still get 11. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2, all over the 3. So that was another way. I don't think I saw too many people attempt that. Usually I think people did mostly the shortcut. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next one. I was actually really happy to see on number 4. A lot of people did it this way, where they did kind of a visual aid. That does help. Like, I know it's silly. It really, really does help to like break that up. You know, 19 over 4. That is multiple pans of 4s, and then an extra pan of 3 to make a total of 19. And then all you have to do is count up how many full pans you had. You had 4 full pans with 3 out of 4 left over. No joke, the people who actually drew it out, like putting it like that, were the people who got it right, usually. The people that tried to like guess like what 4 goes into 20 or 4 goes into 19, those are the people that typically messed it up. They had too many, okay? All right, next one, factors of 32. Most people had them. The most common mistake that I saw, not getting 2 and 16, because it was the only one that was not on the multiplication chart, and I kind of give you a hint of that. But those are the only 3 pairs. It was worth 3 points. It was a point per pair. Most people had the first one. They had the next one because it was on your multiplication charts. But this is the one that eluded people. I had somebody really beautifully put like all the numbers. Like if you were to take 32 and subtract 4s, like they just subtracted 4 little times. I don't know what that is. It's not a factor. All right. Number 6. Negative 15. That is an integer. It's negative. It's a normal number. It's negative. And then it's irrational because I can make it a fraction if I want to. I can put 15 over 1. The next one is automatically rational. It's a fraction. It's not irrational. Since you can write it as a fraction, it's automatically rational. The only time it would be irrational is if there's a dot, dot, dot for decimals. So really, that's how you know. But I was pleasantly to see that. Some people like just kind of guess and just wrote them all down. You can't do that. You miss points automatically. Okay, next one. If you're multiplying numbers, and one of them is negative, it's automatically negative. Doesn't matter if it's bigger or smaller. if you're adding, okay, if you're adding, you have to compare, and usually the bigger number tells you what it is when you're adding. Well, the bigger number is 93, it'll be negative in the end. And that's after you simplify and cancel. I tried to pick some easy ones, so they're both negatives. Okay, let's go to the next page. Hopefully that made sense, and those are 1 point. Those the first page is out of 18. All right, moving on. All right, so second page here. Whoa, too far. All right, so you can see my points set up here. Did I pick the same first?
Same page.
Hold on. Pick the same page twice. Where's that second page? Mr. Guard.
Where are the weights at? Where are the weights at?
Where's that?
How many loaves did you get?
Is it opening up?
Which ones?
Thanks.
How many loaves?
Alright, where is my second page at?
Well, we gotta separate them too.
Why did it take so long?
Oh, no.
Jason. Are you sleeping?
Where's my second page?
We got, it took us a while to go.
Going back up, what?
We didn't get it until 8:30.
It's just, the two scans are showing me the same first page, that's odd. Alright, so, okay, let me, grab it real quick. Okay, Mr. Dark, here you go, you can check out the first page. I need to go scan this second page in. I thought I had it. Alright.
Jason.
Okay, hopefully I got the second page scanned here, we can look at the second page. Alright.
That's fun.
Let's see, please say a
I'm glad you do, because I'm sure.
Oh.
Ah, perfect, okay.
The easiest one is maybe.
Yes, okay, so we're in the business here. Okay, so, second page here, okay. So, you can see my points, what they're worth. These problems are worth 1 point each. Basically just figuring out which number is bigger. I was gonna make the fractions worth more, but it was just, all I was looking for was a symbol. So I didn't know, I couldn't justify counting like number 11 and 12 as worth more points, because all you have to do is put a symbol down. So, number 9, the 81 is a bigger number because when you do the absolute value of those bars, it makes it positive that is bigger than 45. On this one, 9 and 19, 19 is a bigger number, so now face the 19. On the fractions, now, I'm gonna zoom in on this so you can see this a little bit better. Okay, so, you can see my crazy math that I'm doing here. What I did is I broke up the 4 on the bottom to be 2 and 2 and 3. On the 14, I made that 2 and 7 on the bottom, I went 4 and 4, and I broke that up even further to be 2, 2 and 2. So I scribbled this out, you can actually probably see my pencil mark. And so this is technically the bottom of this fraction right here. Does that make sense? Now, what I did is I tried to compare the two fractions. Do you agree that fraction, if I got rid of those, only has 2 2's on it? So this one has 4 2's. So what I did is I put 2 over here. When I did that, I had to put 2 on the top. Because if you change the bottom, you have to change the top of the fractions to keep it balanced. And so the top actually ended up being a 12, because it was 3 times 2 times 2. Over here, I didn't have to change anything. There were still 4's on the, there was a bunch of 2's on the bottom. I didn't have to change anything. So that one stayed at 14. That is technically a bigger fraction. It's 14 over 16, that type of thing. Okay? All right, now, number 12. This one, they're actually equal to each other. Now, here's why. I broke up the bottom to be 5 and 2. This one is 3 and 3. Over here, I did 3 and 9 and 3 and 10, and that was 2 and 5. So you can see I scribbled it out. It was that. So what I did is I noticed on this problem, because this is what it looked like originally, this one had a 5 and 2 on the bottom. This one had a 3, 5 and 2. So I had to put an extra 3 over here. Okay? Perfect. I'll take it. Thank you. Okay. All right. So, all right. So I put an extra 3, so I put an extra 3 on the top. That made 27 on the top. 3 times 3 times 3, which is the same as the other side. Okay, take that. All right. So there you go. On the next one, You had to add these together. You can see the plus signs cancel each other out, or sorry, the negative signs cancel each other out, and you add them together and you get 43. So there you go. It is positive. That's something I was checking for. Okay, so the big thing is I am checking to see if you had a positive number or a negative number. If it was positive, you didn't need to put a plus. I just put it there to show you that it was positive. The reason why is that both numbers here are actually positives because the two negative signs cancel out because they're next to each other. All right, we go to the next one. Since there's only one negative number, you have to subtract. Since there's only one negative. So I'm going to subtract the two numbers, and my answer ends up being positive because 44 was simply a bigger number, and it was 15. Next one. Now we're multiplying. When you multiply, the two negative signs cancel each other out. So it ends up being positive. It ends up being a positive 90. I think the goofiest answer I had somebody have was, and it was just a simple mistake. They were doing it right. They did it by the lattice method, where you do scaffolding, and they did 1 and 8, and they did a 0 and 5, which is technically the correct way to write 5 in 2 digits. And then they put the slang lines. They did everything correct. But then when they took 8 times 0, they put 8, when it should have been just 0. 8 times 0 is 0. Anything times 0 is 0. And then 1 times 0 is 0. It was a simple mistake, because they did everything else right, and then they even followed the step where they added diagonally correctly. It was just a simple mistake, so they missed a point. Now, if you had negative signs wrong, I do count an extra point off, that type of thing. But it was a simple mistake. All right, now, number 16. I did this one by lattice because for the most part, from what I could tell, almost everyone did lattice for this problem. 27, 13, I multiplied 7 times 1, that's 7. 2 times 1, that's 2. 7 times 3 is 21, and 2 times 3 is 6. I added diagonally, and you can actually see when I added, that's a 1, that's a 15. I carried a 1 over to the next column, so I made 3, and then a 0. And that's how you carry numbers over, so it was 351. It was positive. The two negative signs cancel each other out again. All right, next one, fractions. You don't need to flip here. That's a multiplication. Leave the two fractions where they're at. All you have to do is break them up. So I did 8 was 2 and 4, 9 is 3 and 3, 5, I left it, 4 I made that 2 and 2, but the 4 is basically canceled out. I just kind of knew that was going to happen. And then when you go across, you have negative 10 on the top. It was actually negative, there was a negative sign. And then you had a 9 on the bottom. You could have left it like this, I'm totally fine with that. Some people went further, which is great. That you had 1 full pan and 1 extra one, because that's 10 over 9. But it's negative. The big thing I'm checking for is negative. All right, next one, number 18. Division. So what I did first is I changed that 5 and 1/2 to 11 over 2. 5 shows the bottom out of the top. There, the 5, 6. And then what I did next is I changed this to multiplication and flipped this fraction over. And notice I canceled the negative signs. There's 2 negatives, they automatically cancel out. Now at this point, what I did is I broke the 6 to be 2 and 3. None of the other numbers broke up. I could cancel things out diagonally, nothing up and down. And I went straight across, it's 33 over 5. You could have left it like that. Some people went further. They tried to figure out how many 5s goes into 33. Well, 6 of them do with 3 left over. Now, you didn't have to. You could have left it like that. But there you go. All right. If you wish to take a retake, if you wish to, because obviously you always have the option to, you have a week from today to do that. A week from today if you wish to take a retake. So, you can do it before or after school, you can do it during your study hall, but you have to come in with me at least for 10 minutes. We review the problems you missed, and you always get the better of the 2 scores. So it's a no-risk gamble. It's basically you would be comfortable if you want to watch it. They're already in the news, you're already in there. All right, I'm going to take these back. For those who took it today, thank you. I'm going to grade it so you get to see it here in a little bit. Basically, that's all I want to do today. I don't want to do anything else. You have time to relax. We took a test yesterday. I don't want to go through any more notes. That would be silly. We have people taking the test still. I thought it would be a nice, easy day just to review test scores and call it a day and relax.
Is my new clothes more good?
Oh, the first period.
So, I can leave for
I prefer that you come in before, so not during prep. Questions?
will you take the better score for retake?
Yes.
Can I retake, 4th period?
No, because you have to review with me before.
Oh, okay.
You have to spend a minimum time with me to review, that's like 5-10 minutes, something like that. We go over the times you missed on a separate day, and then we can retake it, we'll schedule a time for you to review.
Integrated science because
Can we do that at the beginning of school?
What was that?
Yeah, you know, before and after.
Yeah, before or after school, doesn't matter. I'll be here.
Are you not, do you not coach volleyball anymore?
I gave that up 2-3 years ago, something like that, when my son was getting old enough. I wanted to spend more time with him, because literally from the beginning of August, when we started volleyball camp and practices, to February, I would never see my son awake. Because I would be at games and practices until night, and he'd already be in bed, and I'd never see him awake.
What?
So,
Only on weekends?
only weekends. That's the only time I ever get to talk to him, so.
You got shifted, you got shifted.
Can I even do that one anymore?
I'm gonna get something to
Or did you already turn it on?
It's pretty much how.
Dude, there was a bad car accident this morning.
Where?
Vale and 18.
Is that what is that what all the officers were doing this morning? They were flying by.
Yeah, my legs are bit up.
Yeah,
I was dropping off my son today and they were flying.
Yeah, it was head on.
Ooh.
I was thinking it was
Did you guys see it?
No, but thank God we were loading out on that Hallmark and it was,
Head on collision. Was it foggy this morning?
What?
Was it foggy this morning?
It smells good, it smells good.
Yeah, why is-
It smells well.
In town, where did I actually see
Starts
that?
What's it smell like?
Yeah.
Did you shower?
Yeah.
It doesn't just come off.
Well, if you still have it, turn it in, but if you don't, no.
You can't smell.
So,
You have
any
to
extra
smell. You gotta
copies?
just smell yourself.
That's your lowest grade, Mason.
B minus.
What's going on here?
If you have it, you can turn it in. If you don't, nope.
Good. Alright, I'm done.
No, great.
It's an intro to this
You know what I gotta be minus?
I got posers.
My legs are bad.
Yeah, so am I.
That an easy class?
Several.
Is that an easy class?
Yeah, it's been the easiest class we get. That's an A class.
Why'd you just go and sit there and
I
fight?
gotta be nice, because I felt
I had like 50 on them.
it was like a common sense thing.
My